I'm going to take some of these parts that you see. They were downloaded from places like McMaster-Carr and some other free online places. And I'm going to simplify them in a way that will help them run better if they're used in a SOLIDWORKS assembly file. You can see with this valve, they even drew in all the hex bolts and all these threads. The easiest way to simplify this thing would just be to suppress the threads. If we wanted to go into more detail, we could try to do things like simplify these hardware pieces and just make them have a solid shape filled in. So I'll show a couple things we could do with this one. Sometimes the McMaster-Carr parts are laid out nicely and there's folders for the different features. If there aren't folders, you usually look for the helix features and suppress those. I'm just going to suppress this whole threads folder. And you can see how much that's going to simplify this geometry already. And then maybe we want to do something like this. If I draw a sketch on this side face, maybe it's just a circle. But if I draw some circles in, I can extrude them and take these hex features out by putting another feature in. It'll still end up simplifying the geometry a little bit. Grab all those circles and make them equal to one another. Maybe I make one of them co-radial to one of the pieces of geometry that's already there. And then extrude it until it goes, I don't know, to the bottom of the hole. No, we don't have those little features either. Any little bit will help, but those couple things will really help this part load faster when we open it in an assembly file. Now I can do a couple things with the appearances. I like to just click on the faces of things that I want to change appearances of. And I could probably grab this whole revolve, make it black. Maybe I grab that chamfer feature there also, just to make this thing look a little nicer when it's in the assembly file. All right, so that one's done. I hit save and I'll close it. Now these, the knurling on this air fitting does not need to be modeled for most of our uses, unless we wanted to have a really, really nice photo rendering done or something like that. It's nice that they put it in this folder, this feature folder. I'll just try to suppress it all like this. Hey, that's pretty nice. That'll help. If we wanted to kill a little more detail out of this thing here and make it open even faster, we could try to make some kind of circular extrude to cover all this area so it doesn't have all these little chamfers and fillets. Or we could try to use a delete face here and see if it could delete and patch some area. But I don't know. There's a lot of detail inside there that doesn't need to be shown either, like these ball bearings probably. See how we could get those things out of here maybe. There's a circular pattern of those. And there's the revolve. Maybe I can suppress those. Press that. And where's this other little one at? Let's see. That revolve also. Let's see, I'll suppress that too. We don't need all those. That'll help out a lot with the graphics triangles on this thing. All right, let's say that's enough on this one. If we notice a problem with it, we could come back in and take like the barbs off or something like that later. Now with this one, I'd say the main thing to target, we'll make sure these threads are gone. And if I click on a feature, it should highlight it in the feature tree. We can see this first revolve up at the top. It has all kinds of children off of it. So that's going to be a slight issue. We can't just suppress it or it will suppress all of the children. What we could do here is add one more feature. Something like this. Maybe while preserving some of this initial geometry here, we make another revolve. By the end of the day here, it'll end up taking all of the threads out. So that'll be cool. Let's see. All right, maybe I give this an angle. And that'll lock everything down there. Then I'll just add another revolve in here. Oh yeah, that'll help. We could also try to fix this area up. It doesn't have to have all this divot in it. And I noticed I kind of filled it in. So if you wanted to, you could cut that back out. I could start a sketch here, grab this and convert entities and put an extruded cut in, maybe until it goes up to this surface. Yeah, that would be fine. That helps simplify it a little bit there. Even though it added an extra feature or two, the geometry got simpler. It'll be a little easier to load when we open it in an assembly file now. Now this thing, here's the pneumatic cylinder that we're going to eventually use for the wood splitter. I could simplify this by suppressing all of these different threads. They have a folder for us called threads. If I suppress it, oh, some things go a little crazy. But I noticed we could probably make a version of this with the cylinder extended and retracted now pretty easily also. And that would be cool inside our assembly file if we did that with the configuration. So in this first configuration, we'll call it the one that's closed. I noticed the solid bodies folder here has 5 bodies. And if I dig in there, I can see those couple bodies are the ones that I want. If I just right click on them, I can delete the bodies, and that'll be something that lives on the feature tree. And then we could suppress that and they'd show back up. Maybe we put another body delete in for the one that's retracted. So I'll grab our configuration tab here and right click in there and add a configuration. And I'll call it extended. And in that one, I can suppress that body delete, and I could do another body delete for the original one. Let's see. Delete. There. And now we have 2 configurations. Whoop. One with it retracted, one with it extended. So we'll be able to see the stroke of the log splitter and everything once we get this thing made. I think that just suppressing those threads and what we did here will help enough. Just going to save that. And that's all of them. So thanks for watching. I know that was a little bit longer, but those few modifications will really help our assembly file's opening time.